And we're back. The time's now 12:05, and more importantly, welcome back to Good Afternoon ENG 4U-02. We turn now to special field reporter Kelly Mueller on a segment focusing on racism within the Appleby community and how closely the themes of the recently discussed novella, Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, aligns with our school. Kelly?
Thanks, Kelly. Throughout this segment, we are following the thoughts and moral convictions felt and experienced by a North American exchange student that was here at Appleby College, whose only revealing characteristic was the alias Marlowe. Using his journal, we will investigate the validity of his claims and the extremity of racism within our school.
Here at Appleby College, we strive for excellence in all aspects of school life. The school boasts a very integrated and internationally diverse student body. However, after the recent discovery of an exchange student's cryptic journal depicting the apparent racism, exclusion, and immorality of the school, it no longer seems absurd to say that perhaps the heart of darkness is still beating in 2011 and in our own very school community.
I'm sitting here with the actual journal, and in his first entry, the student, using the pseudonym Marlowe, describes the international students, particularly those from the Orient, and how strange and uncivil they appear, both with their native language and his singular observation of a student using a chopstick instead of the traditional fork. In his first entry, he writes, "I caught a glimpse of them, speaking at an almost incomprehensible pace, in an alien-like dialect. They stood 10 yards ahead with coarse jet black hair and clad in an egg yolk pigment. They weren't inhuman, but their characteristics seemed so distant from that of the usual white North American." The second and third diary entries generally become less racist and more sympathetic towards the international students. He begins to refer to them as people rather than shapes and angles. He also frequently mentions the subtleties of Canadian students doing a favor or a charitable service by whitewashing the Asians and assimilating them into our culture, and essentially extinguishing their own culture.
I interviewed several students earlier today to determine the validity of Marlowe's claims about racism in the Appleby community.
Do you think racism exists here at Appleby College?
No, our school's pretty good about being nice to everyone, I guess.
No, our school isn't racist at all.
Okay, well, what about against racism against Asian students in particular? Do you say you would integrate often with them?
I wouldn't say that there's any racism here at Appleby. I always say hi to the ones I know, like even the ones that I don't know. I'm always nice to like Ching Ching or Wazoo or whatever their names are.
I hang out with some of them. Some of them are actually kind of funny. I mean, the ones who can actually like speak English or talk to you more. I wouldn't want to room with one though and have to teach them how to like talk.
What are some things that upset or offend you, in particular being an international student from China?
I hate when I'm talking to my mom or like my other friends and like people just look at me like I'm crazy or something. Like I can speak English, you know?
I bought food from China and I ate them sometimes, make me feel like home, but when people pass by, they just gave me one of those looks and feels like I'm eating brains. But if you actually try it, it's good.
What I find most peculiar about this journal is that it stops abruptly halfway through the fourth entry. The entry alone stands out because it praises the international students from Asia and how they overcome both a language and a cultural barrier. Why this elusive Marlowe was unable to finish his final entry remains a mystery. Perhaps he was too aghast by his own findings, or was simply unable to finish.
At the conclusion of the segment, and with the aid of Marlowe's journal, I must say that the themes of civility versus savagery, philanthropic venture, and most importantly, racism are still alive. This is Kelly Mueller signing off with the final statement of "The Heart of Darkness is still very much beating in 2011.